Hey, what's up everyone? This is Minnesota Mike back with you for another video. This is another one in my vlog series that I do through the Memphis Songwriters Association in conjunction with the blog that I write for them, talking all about songwriting and what has worked for various artists over the course of a handful of years, whether those songs have been hits or not. So this latest kick that I'm on is called Types of Narration, and last week we looked at first-person narration through the lens of Skyway by The Replacements and If You Could Read My Mind by Gordon Lightfoot. Now we're going to shift gears and talk about third-person narration as well as third-person omniscient narration. Now, the third-person omniscient we'll get to in the next vlog. That's a little twist on the third-person narrative, but we're going to just look at the regular third-person narrative through the song Eleanor Rigby by the Beatles. So I already wrote a blog and did a vlog kick called It's About Time, but for the third song in a row, we have a group that does not get featured often enough in my blog and vlog kicks. So I say that to say it's about time that I talked about the Beatles once again. But Eleanor Rigby is one of the greatest poems and stories ever written, and as an added bonus, it fits the category very well. The narrator weaves the tale of a woman named Eleanor Rigby, as well as all the lonely people in her life, and then she is, of course, one of the lonely people as well. It contains vivid imagery from the very first verse, including her sitting at the window with her face that she keeps in a jar by the door, and then cruelly asks, "Who is it for?" I interpret this as makeup, a new face that she puts on, but she has no one for whom she can put on a new face, potentially a prettier one. The second verse talks about Father McKenzie, who writes the words to a sermon nobody will hear, and Father McKenzie appears in the last verse, presiding over Eleanor's funeral. But since such a lonely soul cannot save another lonely soul, no one was saved. What's really fascinating about this song being in third person is that we never really know how the narrator of this song knows all of this information. In an earlier blog and vlog kick, I talked about Simple Twist of Fate by Bob Dylan and how it switches from third person narration, "They sat together in the park" in the first verse, very first line of the song actually, to "They stopped into a strange hotel, a little confused, I remember well," which alludes to the fact that he's part of the story rather than just someone who heard the story, and that suspicion is confirmed in the last verse with "I still believe she was my twin, but I lost the ring." The rest of that is "She was born in the spring and I was born too late." One of my absolute favorite lines in any song. But back to Eleanor Rigby. Eleanor Rigby and then Harrisburg, which we'll talk about later, we don't get to know how the narrator knows the characters, but both of them are told from privileged perspectives because the narrator tells a few anecdotes about the two characters and looks at them as lonely, but never does anything to befriend them or make their lives better. I do want to point out, too, that as I was reading a book, Requiem for a Spanish Peasant, I was reading it in Spanish, and it uses the omniscient narration, which Eleanor Rigby doesn't quite do, but it's really interesting because there's basically the whole gist of the plot is that this priest is writing a requiem or a homily, a sermon for this requiem mass that is celebrating the life of this peasant who was killed, and it was potentially the priest's fault and all of that. But throughout him reflecting on this particular person's life, he's doing that, and then the acolyte comes in and says, "Hey, nobody's here, nobody's here, nobody's here." And I just kept on thinking of Eleanor Rigby because the Father McKenzie's sermon was writing a sermon that no one will hear. And so, I know it's in English as well, but I was just curious in reading that if maybe that influenced Lennon at all, Lennon or McCartney, but I think it was a Lennon tune, even though they wrote it together. But anyway, let's talk about some stuff that I know for sure, and that is the melody. So Eleanor Rigby is written in the key of E minor, and the intro uses C and E minor, the 6 chord and the 1 chord. while the verses use E minor, C, and then E minor. So that is going to be the 1 and the 6 that it is going back and forth between. Then the chorus uses E minor 7, E minor 6, C, E minor 7, E minor 6, C, and E minor. So again, basically going off of that 1 and the 6 chord as well, but obviously using those extensions of the chord, the E minor chord, I should say. Structurally, the verse uses, or the song, I should say, uses an intro, verse, chorus, verse, chorus, verse, chorus structure. After each chorus, the lyrics of the intro, "I'll look at all the lonely people," gets repeated. With a song that mentions all the lonely people, there's the potential for it to have tons of verses, but Father McKenzie and Eleanor Rigby are connected by the fact that they're not connected to anyone, which is an interesting contrast. The fact that the song is only about these two people then simply connects them at the end without a happy ending, makes it all the more powerful. So Eleanor Rigby is linked below. You can listen to it, and I hope you hear it with fresh ears, although obviously this song is, about 45 years old at the time of publication. And as a result of that, a lot has probably been said about it. But like I said, I hope you listen to it with fresh ears. And I hope McCartney doesn't come after me for my analysis of it. But, or, God forbid, Yoko, that'd be even worse. But anyway, I'm Minnesota Mike. Thank you so much for watching. You can check out all my other vlogs on YouTube, and then all my other blogs on the Memphis Songwriters Association website. Thank you so much.